Hello, everyone. I hope there are many of you are joining and excited to see the session about how to choose the best locations to buy, reposition, and sell units. We picked this topic seeing the last couple of quarters in terms of how frequently our clients and partners were operating on the exchange and what particular use cases they used to generate profits for themselves. Before we jump into the topic, I'll give a few words about myself so I can introduce myself, and then we can jump into the idea of who you are, and then I will give you a little engagement into the chat. So my name is Ivan Titov. I'm a senior product manager in the Container Exchange. So I worked previously in logistics and retail industries, also being a part of the global forwarding and DHL world. So quite familiar with what many of you representing the container industry facing with. And I had my experience in process optimization and fast fashion stuff. We managed to move a lot of different goods from Asia to North Europe and North America. So kind of an interesting process now for me to see the other side of the story here. I'm also a data enthusiast, so all the pieces related to numbers and how they can shape the picture always fascinating me. And I'm of course inspired by global logistics and the power it has over the prosperity in our world. You also can message me after the presentation to my email address or add me LinkedIn. It's still a networking event. I hope we all get connected later. Yeah. Today I'm working on the product related to the data topics in the exchange, and that's basically one of the aspects I'll be talking about today. I have prepared for you a few questions, so I would like you to get active now. Please open the polls in your chats. It's above, it's a different tab. And I will show you the 3 questions on my screen with a few answers. And I want you to vote directly there with answers 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's begin with the first simple question. It will help me to understand a bit about you. How often do you buy and sell containers? It's my day-to-day job, and that's answer number 1. Number 2 is from time to time, so happens. Number 3, I'm interested to start, so I'm just at the very beginning of my journey. And number 4, it's really not applicable to me, so I'm here for another reason. So please use the polls in your above your in the section of your chats. Yeah, exactly, in the top of the chats, and then vote directly there. And again, the question is that how often do you buy and sell containers? It's your day-to-day job, from time to time, interested to start, or not applicable. I'll be looking forward to get your answer 1, 2, 3, or 4 to the first question. Seems like not applicable, so you really don't often that by yourself. Okay, now we get another winner. It's my day-to-day job. Looks like we have 2 different types of audiences here. I'm glad, and I'll try to guide my presentation to fit both of you. Good, then let's move to the second question. It sounds like this. What is the most important factor to decide when you buy or sell containers? Is it offered price? So you're really interested in what's the price, and it's commodity, right? It's a time pressure, so you really need to close the deal very soon. And then obviously time is an important factor for you. Number 3 is a known partner or market you really know well, so that somebody familiar so you can trust well. And number 4 is the other topic, so you can also specify in the chat additionally. But please first vote 1, 2, 3, or 4. What is the most important factor to decide? That's a question number 2. So it's an offered price, and known partner seems to be most important when you take a decision about buying or selling containers. Good. Let's go then with question number 3. So how do you evaluate the container prices? So what's the typical approach you have? You ask partners to get some quotes over the email or phone. You just research on the internet to check out what are the typical prices in these particular locations. You use any analytical software, maybe it predicts you, maybe it just accommodates some information, or fourth, you have some other topics. So also would be nice if you specify that. And that's the last question. So please vote 1, 2, 3, or 4. Nice. So we have responders who chose 2 and 3. So research on internet and use analytical software. So hopefully we also help. Now we also have the partner. So all of the different aspects are important. So indeed. Cool. What I wanted to follow up with those 3 questions is that indeed there are many of us also present today in the call who are buying and selling units in a frequently, and obviously the price is one of the important factors. Whenever it comes to evaluation, there are multiple approaches, and today we want to present one of them, which can probably be an additional tool in your portfolio later on. Moving on to the topic of the presentation, I wanted to highlight about this typical use case, or let's say a business model for container traders who are buying and selling units. So basically typical trading approach, but often enough, there is also reposition action is in the middle when you buy in one location, bring it to another location and sell there. Yeah, the profit generated from buying cheap to sell more expensive. Of course, it depends on what is the market situation, what are the particular factors influencing that. But what we could see also in the platform, and many of you probably experienced that, the common route which is chosen is this is somewhere from China to the United States, and Shanghai, Houston might be the 2 key ports used in this particular logic. So at the end of the day, if you buy new units, let's say in Shanghai, yeah, you bring them to Houston with one-way reposition activity, and then you sell them much more expensive there because they're definitely in need. Yeah, and recently we saw that there is quite a high difference in prices because of different crisis modes. Let's say the pandemic did influence a lot in terms of what happened in terms of the container supply here and there, and that was one of the key opportunities for many of our partners also to generate profits for themselves. However, there are also a few key pitfalls, which often enough interesting to know about upfront, and that also brings additional risks, of course, in terms of dealing with this type of activities. So first of all is the high container price fluctuation. So we see the dynamics is happening, let's say, weekly. Yeah, on different locations, there could be additional let's say, governmental decisions like completely blocking Shanghai or shutting down some operations due to strike or whatsoever. That definitely affects the dynamics here. There are also seasonality effects. So recently, and it's mostly applying to the repositioning. So when we have the container supply to move the goods, obviously, high peak season came in September, right? For the Christmas, New Year time, there were lots of arrangements in terms of transportation of the goods. And yeah, that obviously also has an effect in terms of what kind of profits can you generate from buy and reposition and sell use case. And the last piece here, which I didn't mention yet, this is a long operational time. So obviously bringing container from China to Europe might take 60, sometimes even longer days, more days. And then obviously 60 days is a long period, yeah. So to really keep up the price and then see. So that's something that obviously we saw our partners dealing with, and then we want to address it also with our solution. So moving on, I wanted to present you insights, and this is our exchange data product where we accumulate the information about the prices and also the supply and demand opportunities. So why do we really did we really think about bringing something like this? First of all, we saw the dynamics on the platform, and we figure out that most of our clients using different resources, they might be to find information. It's also time consuming. Maybe with the new dashboard opportunity, such kind of cases can be solved much quicker. Plus, there are more opportunities can be found not only in the known markets. So at the moment, there is a possibility to find market prices in 60 locations. You can also check the certain evolution of the price and compare different ports. And of course, check out what is direct supply from exchange. Plus, we share some analytical advices or information from the experts, so that also helps those colleagues or those partners which recently joined the industry. Yes, what I also would like to highlight here is that we have a direct product page link added to the slide. So later on, you may also access to that to read a bit more about this, and also QR code if you want to access it directly from your phone. However, what I want to move now is basically to the action and make a short demo to you in terms of how this platform works and how can you really find the right information about the prices and volume. I have two cases prepared. I hope the time allows us to go through. So first one will be about 40 feet high cubes, brand new containers, and the second one will be about 20 DC cargo worthy. I hope you can all follow me, and I will just show you quickly my another screen where I have the demo. So first, quickly about the product, we have the three different tabs which are representing different types of information, and I will talk today about the trading data which is available right away. So it has the three blocks. The one is about the spot rate prices, so what happens today, and certain supply which you can see directly on our platform. The second one is about the overtime evolution of the prices, so in different selected locations and different periods. And the last one is telling us a story about the negotiation corridor, so how much is the difference between prices when there is a sales offer or there is a buying demand, and where is usually the market price located, plus also certain information about our platform. So let's go and try to solve the case with 40 high cubes brand new. As I mentioned earlier, the idea is that to bring those containers from Asia to, let's say, North America or Europe, and these are the very typical cases, to let's say, buy cheap and sell more expensive. But we're going to see how it works with this now. So what I did first, I selected the high cube, 40 high cube as a type, the condition brand new, and the regions I have pre-selected. Maybe what will be interesting for us also to see Southeast Asia, which will include basically the region here. Yeah. So the map is loading now all the availabilities from the platform, so we can directly see the bubble saying how many containers available on those locations, and they could be bought directly now. And the graph on the left, it's a little bit longer loading today, is building up the prices, market prices across different locations. Yeah. So we can also see several filters additionally here. So it's based on a city, area, country, or region. So aggregation happens on a different granularity. However, they obviously gives a certain reference. Somehow it takes time today. Yeah. Let me probably refresh. Data. So much data behind. So somehow we are loading quite a lot of additional information today. You see, that was much quicker this time. Yeah, what I was trying to show you is that if we look at the Europe North and North Asia and Southeast Asia, there is basically already a list of the different ports where we can evaluate the prices. So if we look at the Singapore, it could be probably high price here. You can see 4.3, 4.2, yeah, 4.2 brand new, and somehow Europe is much lower. So this is not going to work for us. Obviously, there's no way to buy in China and bring it to Asia and earn money with that. Let's look at the North America. So the first step of this evaluation is always to find the right opportunity. Where is the feasible way to really bring the container, and how much could it really cost here and there to understand if there is a possibility. So you can see lots of ports are already loaded in the North America region. So quite some containers, much less available, of course, not typical way to buy. So mostly you buy here and bring them here. Yeah, and again, North America takes time to load. Yeah, I have to process all of the 100,000 data points to understand what is the average price now. And obviously we use several different data sources, not only coming from the exchange, but also several container trading platforms plus shipping lines. So they all have the information which is interesting to us and obviously to you to understand what are the data behind this and what are the prices they offer on the platform. So we can aggregate, calculate, and process that as the best option. I guess I have to restart again. Interesting. Apologies for the data loading today. Yeah, let's just go to North America straight away. I guess my local computer doesn't have that much cache today. Yeah. Yes. What can we see so far? Maybe let's do the typical case. What I wanted to show you today is that if we look at the brand new containers, and I already checked it up front, we'll look at the particular locations like Shanghai and Houston. And at the moment, you can see that the prices over the period, they actually get very close to each other. So it doesn't really make a big difference in terms of what can you earn if you buy in one place, but do it in another place. However, if you look at the past periods, somewhere in August, the price difference was quite significant. So that also gave you an opportunity to find a case like this. If we don't look at the Shanghai and let's say choose Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, yeah, usually there is a bigger difference. So, but in this case, it's around $200, which is quite insignificant in our case. Yeah, what else can we really look at? Typical alternative, as I said, you would be Europe to bring it, yeah, and if we look at Rotterdam, Rotterdam gave us basically quite small amount here, but obviously brand new is not the case for Rotterdam case. If we look at the cargo-worthy containers and then still evaluate the same locations, here we have a little bit of better picture. So if we look at difference in between Rotterdam, Houston, and Ho Chi Minh, yeah, it's logically still possible to buy a container in one location and bring it to another one. However, if we look at the pair like Rotterdam and Houston, the question would be how frequently is that there is a ship going from here to here so that you can basically delegate your container to, let's say, lease it out, yeah, and then somebody can bring your container to the desired location. This is not that typical rule. However, sometimes there is a possibility. However, yeah, from my experience, really rare. If we look at the situation from Ho Chi Minh to Europe and Ho Chi Minh to Houston, this is more frequently done route, but often enough it goes from Asia to America or to Europe rather than, yeah, the opposite way. It goes often enough empty. So that's maybe the opportunity where the container should be, might also not bring that much profit, yeah. So that's also the topic to search for. Okay, finally, all the prices are loaded here. So what we can see, difference is basically Denver is high, expensive, Tampa, yeah, okay. Then Seattle is expensive, all right. And then where is cheap? Obviously Europe, yeah, but from Europe, as I said, this is not super easy to bring it. What can we see? Maybe Northeast Asia, maybe not interesting. Southeast Asia, not here. Then Shanghai, yeah, maybe Shanghai, what we see, Tianjin and Ningbo, yeah. So as I said, the price difference is not significant, but for example, in this pair from Tianjin to Denver or Tampa, maybe we can evaluate. Yeah, obviously in Ningbo and Tianjin, there are quite some containers, and then obviously in those ones, there's not so much offer. However, there is an interest. Yeah, so after checking on the first graph, I would still go to the second one to compare exactly those locations. And then I would look at Ningbo, that was brand new, right? And then Denver as an example, or Tampa. Yeah, and then we can see that the significance here is higher. Yeah, so 5.3, and for one, which is roughly 1,000 on top. So the first case, what you really would understand is that how much is the difference, and if it's really going, let's say, up or down or flat. So in this case, you can see that the price actually changes, but not too significantly if we talk about the drops. So perhaps having in mind the 3 months of transportation between Asia and North America, this could be a case where we need to see if there is a possibility to buy a container in Ningbo, yeah, brand new, and right away lease it out. How much can you generate? And in this case, you would need to evaluate the leasing date and the prices there. Yeah. Just shortly talking about the third graph. So obviously, if you decided that you would like to purchase a container or at least evaluate the opportunity in buying it in Ningbo, yeah, we can also see what happens in negotiation there. And our, yeah, we also have a brand new. So in Ningbo, usually the negotiation is much smaller, the corridor, than in North America or Europe. However, in this case, yeah, you can see it's very, very tight. So often enough, the prices are better known to the market players, and then the corridor is not too high. So that means that, yeah, you can roughly estimate how much can you place it. How much should be the price initially? Yeah. Unfortunately, the performance of the platform, or let's say processing of the data, is not too quick today. However, I'd love to show you even more cases in another time. The platform is available for everybody for free, as far as I remember, and I just wanted to follow up. And in the second case, you probably can play it yourself and then figure out what are the typical transportation options or reposition options where you can buy cheap or sell more expensive for 20 DC cargo-worthy containers. One of the typical routes is within Asian regions, but let me know afterwards if you find it or you need some help. So if I would sum up, considering that there's not so much time left, so choosing locations is easy, evaluating business cases complicated, and that's usually the topic. So sometimes you have something in mind and you used to work on the particular locations, but at the end of the day, if the market dynamics is not in your favor and then the prices are fluctuating, and then you probably need to find a new opportunity. But then evaluating business case will take some time. Once you're done, you have better possibilities in your hands. And then with the quick adjustments of the filters here and the insights, obviously bringing you the result quicker. Yeah, the second point here is that finding container prices and evaluating market dynamics simply with insights. Of course, that's what I wanted to highlight. So we definitely work on this topic. It's still a beta version, but we are improving the solution and would be glad to have all the feedback, whatever you have, if you tried it or you will try it. And as I wanted to mention, we grant 7 days for free for everybody who would like to register and play with that. And then afterwards, of course, there will be monthly subscriptions, but you have time to evaluate and decide for yourself. I will jump into questions now. So we have a few minutes. If you have some, please type them into the chat. And my colleagues will help me to prioritize the questions so we can address the most important ones from your perspective. Let's start from this one. There's a question, what is the expected number of used containers that will enter the secondary market in USA for 2022? Well, that's a very specific question about what's the forecast. Currently, we don't forecast the amount of containers on the inside, so we basically look at the past data to understand the dynamics. But what I understand at the moment is that there are quite a lot of colleagues earlier this year started repositioning the containers in the US market, and the volume is a bit higher than the previous year. However, I can't tell you about the second part of the year, so here we might need to wait and run a few tests. You may also reach out to me via email or LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll try to find the better data for this topic. Yes, I still give you a few minutes to write a question if you have some. All right. And then thank you very much for your time. I will be glad to get any feedback later on the presentation we had here. And of course, I wish you all use data in day-to-day basis to evaluate more cases like this. Prices are not anymore unknown topics, and we wish as a container exchange to bring a bit more transparency into our industry. So thank you very much. And looking forward to see you using our products. As a follow-up, you probably saw in the solution that we already have trading data available, and the data for the pickup charges and leasing is going to be available very soon. So we are already in tests and evaluation. So for the early birds who register soon, we will make the access available within a few weeks. And also for the reference for the trading information, we're using external data. And for the leasing data, we see the exchange as a primary source at the moment. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. I wish you a very good day, and talk to you soon. Bye.